उसको बोलो, we can get another system till that we are staying. Then shall we go ahead and start?
Yes, please.
Welcome all the postgraduates to the teaching program of postgraduate in private surgeons meet. Good evening to all. And one, as Dr. Sivaram and Dr. Lakshman told, you have to put your name. Don't just write down MBBS or something, your iPhone or like that. Preferably, please put your name there. And as you all know, we are having this postgraduate teaching program every monthly clinical meeting, something or else. Now, one of our renowned surgeon of Bangalore, a good teacher and good speaker, he will be taking a case capsule about one complicated case, how to diagnose, how to manage these type of cases. Dr. Sivaram is no need of introduction of Dr. Sivaram to this gathering or to Bangalore. Rather, I can say all over India, everybody knows him. Even in international faculty, he is going many places. So doesn't require any introduction. Straightforward, I will present Dr. Sivaram. He will take this postgraduate teaching today. Dr. Sivaram, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Good evening, everybody. Thanks to Surgical Society of Bangalore. One of the ways of learning surgery is to go through the case scenarios or case capsules. So many times we see that there will be twists and turns. And in science, especially in surgery or medicine, there is no single answer or single way of managing. There may be one problem, but there may be many ways, correct ways of managing, and we have to see which is the most appropriate. So I will take through some of these case capsules, and I hope it will be useful. My sincere request is postgraduates to take questions and also try that they will be able to answer. If there is no answering, there is no problem at all. So somebody else will answer, or if they can say that, yes, this is the way we manage, and or we can go further also, no problem. So postgraduates, please let me ask whom next first case. Many of them we don't know, postgraduates. Okay, so let me ask our own postgraduates. Vanita, you take this, okay? Dr. Vanita?
Yes, sir.
So 45-year-old male patient, he has no comorbidities. He has severe epigastric pain of 6 hours duration. Comorbidity, he has rheumatoid arthritis and taking some medication for that. And he comes to the emergency room, and you are the registrar who is examining this patient, surgical registrar, okay? So patient, you examine, there is tachycardia, he has some amount of dehydration, BP is 130/70, and then you examine abdomen, there is guarding, there is severe tenderness all over abdomen, there is rigidity also, and you percuss, there is liver dullness obliterated. So what is your provisional diagnosis?
Sir, hollow viscous perforation, sir.
Right, so hollow viscous perforation. That's all, or you want to add anything else? Hollow viscous with peritonitis.
Peritonitis, yes, sir.
Okay, or perforative peritonitis. This patient has hollow viscous perforation. Why do you say? Because there is liver dullness obliterated, yes, rigidity, okay?
And history of NSAIDs for rheumatoid arthritis, sir.
Okay, so what do you want to do next?
Sir, X-ray erect abdomen, sir.
X-ray erect abdomen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the call duty was, he did a chest X-ray to see whether there is any air under diaphragm. Which one you prefer, chest X-ray or abdomen X-ray?
Both, sir.
Both, okay. If you are doing an abdomen, you should include both the domes of the diaphragm. So better to do supine and also the erect X-ray, right?
Yes, sir.
So now you have confirmed there is hollow viscous perforation. What do you want to do next? Okay, shall we ask somebody?
Resuscitation of the patient, sir.
Resuscitation of the patient also. Okay, let us go to somebody else. Tejasvi Kumar, your postgraduate, Dr. Tejasvi. Please come in quickly, no? Otherwise, we'll have run out short of time. Dr. Anjali. So, Dr. Chalani, your postgraduates are there.
Come here. Next
you want to do CT or anything, or it's okay to go ahead with the
Yes, sir. We go ahead with
further treatment?
Start resuscitation along with.
Can't hear you. Can you just introduce and go ahead?
Sir, I am Dr. Sachin Patel, sir.
Yeah, a little louder.
I am Dr. Sachin Patel, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Sachin.
Yes, sir.
Welcome. From Jain Hospital?
Yes, sir. From Jain Hospital, sir.
Yeah, now we can hear you. You want to treat this patient conservatively or manage with surgery?
No, sir. I will manage with the surgery, sir. Okay. And I will go with X-ray only, sir. And simultaneously, we'll start a resuscitation.
Okay, good. Then? You want to do any other imaging or X-ray is enough?
I think X-ray is enough, sir.
Good.
Anyway, we have to open. So good. I think X-ray is enough, sir.
Right. I also agree with you. Any role for conservative treatment?
No, sir.
Yeah. Why do you say no?
Because most likely there is a hollow viscous perforation. So anyway, we have to go in and see, sir. And
right.
That is
peritonitis.
Peritonitis is there. Peritonitis is there, sir. Yes.
If it is a localized, some rebound tenderness or and patient is okay, then we would have considered conservative treatment in this patient.
If not perforation, only localized tenderness or localized peritonitis there, we can consider this.
Okay, what surgery you want to do?
Exploratory laparotomy and proceed, sir, will do.
Okay, so exploratory laparotomy you did. There is a lot of fluid in the peritoneal cavity. You will see a duodenal ulcer perforation.
Yes, sir.
So what will you do?
First, we'll clear all the fluids, sir. We'll do suction and we'll do peritoneal lavage, sir.
Okay, peritoneal toilet. Okay.
Toilet, and we'll do the primary closure of the perforation, and we'll take the DU perforation.
DU perforation. So, yes.
Yeah. We'll do primary closure with the omental patch, sir.
Okay.
And we'll check for other site of perforation if anything is there.
Right. Good. All right. See, this patient, as you said, exploratory laparotomy, peritoneal toileting, and perforation closure. What do you want to use for the closure? What suture material?
We'll use, sir, this Vicryl, sir.
Vicryl. Okay. Delayed absorbable.
Delayed absorbable. Yes,
okay. And patient drain also you'll kept, no?
Yes, sir. Drain also will kept.
Okay. Somebody else can take from here. So he was recovering well, and patient did very well. Clear liquid started after 3 days. He was tolerating, but on 6th post-operative day, his drain output noticed to be high. How much? It was about 180 ml per day. So what do you want to do next? Any other postgraduates? Please come in. Mayank.
You speak. Bolo, ask, speak. No, I'm just
color of the.
Please, no problem. All of you have done very well. There is a prize at the end.
Myself, Dr. Shushmita sir. And
Okay.
post-operative day, I will check the color of the drain, material, what is coming from the drain.
Okay.
And I will advise an ultrasound, sir, to see any collection.
Right, good. Then?
We'll check the vitals also.
We will check the vitals, any tachycardia, anything, peritonitis signs we will check, sir.
Okay. Abdomen is soft. Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
sir.
Whatever, what has happened? What do you think? Why the drain output has increased?
There is a possibility of
Leakage, any leakage can be there, sir.
Re-leak from the
Yes,
where
repair.
you have closed
Repair.
the repair.
Close
Okay.
repair. Yes,
So
sir.
it does not come down even after 8 days, 9 days. So what will you do next? What are the things you have to consider in this patient? Okay, he's already now NPO for 8 days.
So parenteral nutrition we have to give, sir.
So one is the nutrition you have to consider.
Consider.
Okay, next.
Protein albumin levels we have to check, sir.
Okay, how do you confirm the leak?
I'll do a CT scan with contrast, sir.
Okay, oral contrast.
Oral contrast.
And you will see that leak coming out. Okay.
Yes, yes,
Any
sir.
other thing simpler?
By the checking of color of the drain, sir, we can make if it is bilious.
That is okay. Bilious, it will be bilious, isn't it? Duodenal leak. Anything else you can do to confirm leak? Anything you can give orally and it comes out through that?
Barium X. Methylene blue we can
Methylene blue. It is simple. You need not do CT also. You want to do CT, or that is basically for collection or any other things. Okay. You can just give a diluted methylene blue and you will see the color in the drain that confirms the leak. Right?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So drain output will monitor. We'll also look at dehydration, electrolyte imbalance, right?
Yes, sir.
When such a case occurs, then you will be assessing nutrition by checking the weight daily, albumin, maybe once or twice, and hemoglobin, all these things, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So if the patient is sepsis, then you have to do further things like CT or abdomen ultrasound to see the collection.
Yes.
Okay, now what will you do next? Not coming down. You want to give TPN?
Yes, sir.
We'll give, sir.
TPN, or if we have kept feeding jejunostomy, we'll start jejunal
feed we
feeding.
can start.
Sir.
Okay. What do you think? This is going to stop or it's going to continue, this leak?
It will stop, sir.
It will stop.
We check for sepsis also. If anything is there, we can step up the antibiotic.
Okay. If there is sepsis or collection, you have to drain. Otherwise, you have to antibiotic. Okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
Right. So depending on the output, okay, there is high output, medium output, or low output. You can almost predict whether it's going to close or not. If it is less than 200 ml, most likely it's going to close. Even if it takes some days, what you said is correct. You have to maintain the hydration. You have to maintain the nutrition, and there should not be any sepsis. Okay, these are the things you have to take care. So medium output, maybe 200 to 500 ml, difficult maybe. So in small amount or number of cases, it can close. High output pustulas, unlikely to close. You have to do some intervention. Okay?
Yes, sir.
This patient, so what are the conservative methods? We discussed most of the things, no?
Yes, sir.
Instead of TPN, if it is possible to give enteral nutrition, either by putting a naso-jejunal tube, that would be much better than the TPN.
Okay.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Nowadays, endoscopy, medical gastroenterologist will put, or the radiologist will put, or if you have already passed a tube which has going to the duodenum, the Ryle's tube sometimes you can put, or a Frecos tube if you had put, that can be used for nutrition.
Nutrition, yes, sir.
Right. So this is how it is done. Nasojejunal tube, okay,
Yes.
goes up to the jejunum, and also it can be used for, if there is anything, there are holes here, you can use for suctioning also. And this is the, sometimes radiologists can put this through the stomach, gastroduodenojejunal tube, that also can be used for the maintenance of nutrition. It also opens up the stomach, and this is like a going beyond the where there was a duodenal perforation, most likely to heal if it is good nutrition is maintained and there is no sepsis.
Yes, sir.
This patient improved with conservative management. What was done was nasojejunal tube and maintained nutrition. Okay.
Yes.
So don't jump into TPN straight away. You say that wherever possible, you will prefer enteral nutrition.
Enteral feeding.
Enteral feeds.
Right. Any comments from others or seniors? Sir, Dr. Lakshman, Dr. Bakwadi, namaskara. Okay, next I will go.
Namaskar.
Good evening, good evening. Thanks for joining. Who will take next? Anybody else? Somebody from Saint Philomena's I saw. Dr. Anchita, you're okay? Postgraduates.
Tanvir has raised her hand, so we can ask Tanvir.
Okay, Dr. Tanvir, I couldn't see that. You're from which place?
I'm from Rajaraj. Hello, my name is Dr. Tanvir. I'm from Rajaraj Medical College.
Welcome, Tanvir. Very nice.
This is regarding this thing. You mentioned changing over from Ryle's tube to other feeds such as this thing, jejunostomy tube or this thing, orojejunostomy tube. On which day is this conversion best for in terms of prognosis?
Which day is it?
Yes, like during the operation or in post-op?
During the operation, if you have put it, it's very good. Okay.
Okay.
And if it stays there, because this patient had started initially orally, the Ryle's tube was removed. Okay. After the leak started, then we have to think of feeding the patient, isn't it? Nutrition we have to maintain.
Okay.
So after the leak started, we can take the help of the medical gastro or radiologist and then put. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now you take up this question. Drain output. See, come into another scenario. Drain is not coming down. It's quite high, 400 to 500 ml. You know what is WWID? Tanvir?
No, sir.
What will you do?
What? Okay.
New terminology.
Yes.
Yeah, these are the things all of them know now. Yeah, what will you do now? You are the surgeon treating this patient. Quickly, anybody else also can take up? Okay. Tanvir?
Sir, I think I will review his this thing, lab values as well as imaging reports, sir.
Okay.
Like for example, liver function tests, because protein values, nutrition. Other than that, any scanning, imaging modalities, if there's any leak or any collections I'm missing anywhere inside the abdomen.
Right.
Or any other trauma, any other patient might have had other perforation sites which we have missed.
Okay. Which are unlikely. See, this most of the gastric juice, bile juice and all coming through that. This is unlikely to heal. Okay. Already about 8 to 10 days are over. What do you want to do? You want to re-explore?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you re-explore and do what? What are the options? Anybody else? Anirudh? Dr. Chalani, you should help me, sir. I can't see that side, all the...
Our
Okay, anybody
PG.
else? Anybody else? Your PGs?
Dr. Lakshman will help you in that one.
Okay.
Seeing all other things.
Yeah.
And one question is there meanwhile.
Okay.
In chat box, how
Right.
you do to take care of the skin in high output fistula?
This patient actually has a drain. Otherwise, you have to put the stoma bag, and best is to take a help from the stoma therapist.
Dr. Naj has asked this one.
Okay, okay. Anybody else want to take this question? What are the options when you re-explore? Final year PGs were all there. Sir, Jain Hospital, any final year postgraduates?
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah. What do you want to do? You have explored, you explored the abdomen, saw that there is no other leak or anything, other rest of the bowel is okay. There is a large perforation which has leaked after your omentoplasty. What do you want to do? What are the options?
Tanveer has his hand up. Can he unmute and speak, please?
Yeah, Tanveer, go ahead.
No, sir. It was actually from last time only, sir.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Actually, I've given here, one of the options is to have a controlled duodenal fistula. You can do a tube duodenostomy, close the perforation again, or if possible, put momentum there inside and see that whether the sutures hold. Otherwise, do a controlled duodenal fistula plus add feeding jejunostomy. Otherwise, this will be difficult to feed because you have tube there and also there is a drain around that. It's better to do a feeding jejunostomy, maintain good nutrition and divert the fluid from there. It is likely to heal. Any other options?
If there is not holding suture and sir, if there is a edema is there, then we can do that stone.
This is another option, falciform ligament pedicle flap repair. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Falciform ligament is vascularized. You can mobilize it easily and then take it there and close it. Okay? You can plug it inside after putting the sutures and then add again feeding jejunostomy or nasojejunal tube. All these cases, think of nutrition because patient will not be able to eat for 2-3 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So this is another option. Again, after that, you'll be doing the drainage, all those things. Earlier, some surgeons used to do this duodenal or pyloric exclusion surgery. Okay, if there is a large perforation and it has already leaked or anything, you can close, disconnect here, the pylorus and add a gastrojejunostomy. Okay, and put the feeding tube beyond this up to the jejunum so that you'll be able to feed also after the surgery immediately. See, in most of the fistulas, if you maintain good nutrition and there is no distal obstruction, they are going to heal. Okay. Yes, sometimes you can put just a stapler here quickly and then divert it. That's another option, but a little difficult option in an emergency situation. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So next, whether you could have prevented this duodenal leak in the first operation itself. Anything better could have been done. You said the omental plug. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Anybody else want to take? Right. See, some of these perforations may be very small. A 3 millimeters perforation may be sometimes, if it is localized, may be treated conservatively also. But if it is small, less than 1 centimeter or 2 centimeter, omental plug, Graham's patch, or one more I'll tell you, can be helped. But if there is a giant duodenal perforation, you know what is a giant duodenal perforation? More than 3 centimeters. Okay. then you have to think of so many other things. Just if you put a suture and like what we did in this case and come out, it may not take up at all. So large perforations, giant perforations, you have to be much more cautious and you have to use all your mind. Sometimes momentum is very short. You're not able to put it there. What will you do? You have a giant duodenal perforation or a large perforation where you want to do a momentum plug and then do feeding jejunostomy, everything, but momentum not available. Any other material you can use?
Jejunum.
Anything else?
Jejunum.
Who else is there? Maybe final year PG is better for this.
The falciform ligament, sir.
Good. You have used the previous knowledge. Falciform ligament can be used. Okay. You can take a rule loop of the jejunum, right? Rule loop of the jejunum, and you can use that serosa to patch that giant duodenal perforation. You can sometimes mobilize the gallbladder, not a very good option, and then close it over that if it is very much in there. Sometimes a rectus muscle flap in the dire situation, that also can be done. All these things are told in the literature. See, basically, when you do the first surgery, you should do if there is a giant perforation, always add a feeding jejunostomy, okay? And have a good tube which can be passed through the stomach up to the jejunum so that you can use as a feeding jejunostomy also. Otherwise, a good feeding jejunostomy is a must in this case. Anything else, sir, seniors? Any other options? These are difficult situations of giant duodenal perforations. Dr. Chalani, sir?
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
Okay, yeah, feeding jejunostomy, we can make it. Or
Right.
if you can pass this NJ tube, that's also a good option.
Correct, correct. Feeding, we have to think when we do the surgery itself.
Always at the time of surgery, first surgery.
First surgery. Nutrition, very important.
Yeah.
Most
of the time, I do like that only.
Right.
There's a question, is an ulcer biopsy necessary in all cases?
Duodenal ulcer, it's not advocated. It's a small bowel or a stomach. Stomach, it's a must. Not in duodenal. Yeah. Not in duodenal ulcers.
Stomach perforation we must do.
We must do, yes. So this was something new for me also. Graham's patch versus Ceylon-Jones repair. Anybody else? Anybody can tell what is the difference?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir, myself, Dr. Rishabh. I think, sir, Ceylon-Jones is a pedicled omental flap, sir.
Very good, man. Yeah. Graham's patch is?
Pre-omental.
Pre-omental, yeah. Correct. I was always thinking pedicled graft is the Graham's patch, but it's called Ceylon-Jones repair. So they have described as Graham's patch is you'll be taking the omentum, it's a dead omentum, they say. This is the live omentum. That's because it's a pedicled one. This is very clearly shown here. This is just primary closure, not advocated at all. Then you are doing a primary closure with omental pedicle flap, okay? That is vascularized omentum. You mobilize, take the omentum with blood vessels, everything. That is called the Ceylon-Jones repair. And then we have the Graham's patch. That is, you are cutting the omentum here, just using the omentum there and using it, not a good option. So how to close it, how to suture it? You'll be first suture and then putting the omentum. Or you'll be putting omentum, plug it, and then over that you are tying. Anybody? How do you do in your hospital? Jain Hospital.
We'll tie first, sir.
Close.
First knot.
Close.
Close first knot, sir. And before doing second knot, we'll put the omentum, and over the omentum, we'll do the final knotting, sir.
Yeah. First, you keep the suture ready. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Over that, you plug the omentum.
Yes, sir.
This diagram, it's nicely shown. You should not first suture the hole and then putting the omentum. This is going to leak here. That's
Yes.
what happened in our first case. Okay. There is a space
Yes, sir.
between duodenal serosa and omentum. This should not be there. The omentum should go into the hole and it should plug it. And this is a live omentum, like in Celan-Jones repair. Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is going to heal. This is going to leak.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
this is how it should be closed. It's nicely explained.
Question from Professor Guru Shantappa. What is triple ostomy?
Yes. Gastrostomy, jejunostomy. No, sir.
नहीं इसको अपने आप आएगा ऊपर को.
What is the other one? Postgraduates.
है ना सर.
नहीं नहीं आगे वो कुछ क्वेश्चन उधर आ गया ना, इधर नहीं आया.
Duodenoscopy. Sir, Dr. Gurshantappa, is that one?
Yeah, Shivaram,
Gastrostomy,
nicely.
duodenoscopy. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Good
Shantappa,
evening.
nice of you to join us, educate us.
Yeah, I joined from the beginning itself. Nicely, you have mentioned all the options available for leak and bigger perforations, which postgraduates need to know. Nicely mentioned in order.
Right.
The best way of is this following triple-ostomy, that is proximal diversion, distal feeding, and making that fistula seria as a controlled fistula. This is one of the best option available. You can divert proximally by doing a gastrostomy.
Correct.
Distally, the same thing by doing a feeding jejunostomy, and make that uncontrolled fistula into a controlled fistula by making a lateral tube duodenostomy.
Right.
Keeping a tube across the leak area.
Right.
So this is one of the procedure which is with excellent results in an emergency.
Right. So here you will be adding triple ostomies, gastrostomy, duodenostomy, and you'll be closing the fistula, right, Gurshantappa?
Yeah, it is closing or doing a lateral tube duodenostomy.
Yeah,
lateral tube duodenostomy.
Lateral tube duodenostomy after closing, and also add the feeding jejunostomy. Right. Okay. Any other questions in the chat box? So shall we go to the next case? Dr. Chalani, okay, sir, one more? Yeah, I think another 15 minutes are there.
Yes, sir. So another 15 minutes.
Okay. Who will take this?
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, in Graham's patch, we are using free graft of omentum, no, sir?
That's what? Celan-Jones, yeah, free graft.
Sir, that free graft won't die, sir, without the supply?
That's why it's not a very good option.
Sir.
See, sometimes omentum may not be able to mobilize there and bring it. So those are all not good thing. Whenever possible, do a vascularized omental flap there. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Probably it was used earlier, so that's why that has remained as a Graham's patch. Celan-Jones patch is much better. Celan-Jones pedicled flap. Okay.
Sir, good evening.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Dr. Kamath here from Hubli.
Dr. Kamath.
Sir, when we open a case of peritonitis or a duodenal perforation, which we diagnose it with the X-ray, when we open, we find a large perforation with signs of probable malignancy, with lot of induration around the duodenum by the perforated area.
Right.
How to go ahead with it?
I think at that stage, if you suspect malignancy, just take a biopsy. Dr. Gurshantappa can correct me. I would take a biopsy and then put omentum there, and also take all precautions like a feeding jejunostomy and also the gastrostomy necessary, and take a biopsy and manage if whatever is there electively later. If it comes malignancy. just the first part of the duodenal malignancy, very unlikely, I have not come across at all. Over to Dr. Gurshantappa, Dr. Lakshman. It's a nice question.
Yeah, Shivram, it's rightly mentioned, not a very common entity, but that is the best possible the procedure which can be done. What you have mentioned.
I think emergency situations do the minimum, come out, and later you can stabilize the patient and do whatever best is possible.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I would add two other things. When you have a leak like this, pharmacological, you need to reduce the secretions. And so you got to put them on a PPI, perhaps 40 milligrams twice a day IV to reduce the gastric secretions, and put them on a somatostatin analog. I use octreotide 100 micrograms subcutaneous 3 times a day, because it is important to reduce the amount of secretions that come across this leak.
Right. Absolutely, 100%. I had mentioned, but I didn't discuss about that.
Dr. Shivram, I'm Dr. Jagannath Dixit here.
Dixit.
Yeah, very, very nice presentation. Actually, you know, one of the old literature we had when we were MS students, we read about that, you know, passing the Ryle's tube and tying the momentum to the Ryle's tube and retrogradely pulling the Ryle's tube, that will snugly fit the momentum into that big rent. And most of the time it has been very well worked out for the gastric perforations, huge one, where you don't have much option. But duodenal perforation, I think if you freshen the margins and try to seal with a large momentum pulling through the Ryle's tube, sometime it can have a workout. I think not for a big perforation with 3 centimeters, but probably where multiple attempts have been tried and all that, we can use that.
All these are mentioned in the textbook also, momentum plugging. Most important is to plug the momentum there, whichever way you are doing it. Just don't put suture and then put the momentum. Thank you, Dr. Dixit. So let's go to the next case. Postgraduates, anybody can take. 23-year-old college student, fever for 10 days. Okay, diagnosed to enteric fever and was under treatment with a physician. Then after 10 days, he developed severe abdominal pain one day, and he was brought to the emergency room. Pulse 68 per minute, he looks sick, and abdomen tenderness is there, some amount of distension. Okay, next, who will take?
Has he already taken the first dose?
Dr. Chalani, sir.
He already taken the first dose.
Tell somebody, postgraduates. Doctor, who is there? Gurshantappa, postgraduates are there?
Either. There are few names I could see in the participants list.
Salman, you take this. Salman, you take this.
Dr. Salman. Dr. Salman, you are there? Can't hear you. Please don't waste time. No problem. Anybody else?
Yes, sir. Unmute. Yes, sir.
Yeah. What's your name?
Sachin, sir. Jain Hospital.
Dr. Sachin from Jain Hospital. Okay. What will you do next?
We'll do, sir, one X-ray, sir. X-ray chest, sir. And abdomen also, sir.
Okay. Why both? You're right.
This history of enteric fever is there, sir, since 10 days. So I am suspecting of any that complication of typhoid fever of this ileal perforation.
Okay.
Because this is acute abdominal pain with the distension, and patient is sick also.
Right. So you have the X-ray, everything, chest X-ray, erect, supine. What do you see?
Dilated loops are there, sir.
Right.
And air under diaphragm in chest X-ray, sir. Air under diaphragm is there, sir.
See here, there is a small
air.
Right. See,
Yes,
many of these ileal perforations, you may not see a large gas like duodenal pulsar perforation. Sometimes these are missed, that's why. Okay.
yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
also, if you see this patient, there is not much of tachycardia. Why is that?
Young age, sir.
Young age.
What happens in enteric fever? Many times there will be bradycardia.
Bradycardia.
Okay? So unless very good peritonitis sets in, if they may not have much of tachycardia.
Tachycardia.
And abdomen also, there may not be many times board-like rigidity or anything. So many times they
Yes,
are
sir.
missed and delayed surgery occurs. Okay? But they are sick.
Yes, sir.
See, he's already 10 days. He has fever. His nutrition level may not be very good. He'll be a little bit frail. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So this is a little different scenario. You have to think of it. Okay, next what will you do? You want to do ultrasound or CT or anything? Or you want to go for surgery?
I want to go for surgery, sir. I will start resuscitation first, IV fluid, and I will send that pre-op investigations, including blood culture also. I would like to send, sir.
Good.
And I will go for surgery, sir. Directly.
You will resuscitate him, hydrate him, and then take him for surgery.
Surgery, sir.
What surgery?
Exploratory laparotomy I will do, sir.
Okay.
And
you will see an ileal perforation.
Ileal perforation. I will check for any other multiple perforation is there or not.
Okay. You see a one single perforation, other pair patches are little inflamed.
Yes,
what do you want to do?
First, we'll give sir peritoneal lavage, and this will do sir primary repair of if solitary small perforation is there, we'll do primary repair, sir.
Okay. Okay. And then?
And we'll put drain and we'll.
Right. Good enough. Okay. So the
Yes,
principle is clean all contaminants in the peritoneal cavity by thorough wash, and then prevent further contamination, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
By closing the whatever perforation is there. So this is what was done in this case, as you said perfectly well. Any role for laparoscopy in this patient?
We can try, sir, with laparoscopy also, sir. This is a young patient.
Okay.
If
all depends on your expertise.
Experience is there. Yes, sir.
Hospital where facilities are there.
Available.
Everything. Okay. Okay.
Yes,
this patient, okay, he had one thing you didn't mention is about biopsy.
Yes, sir. Biopsy. Yes, sir.
See, in the small bowel, whenever there is a perforation, biopsy is a must, because it may say many times it may everything look enteric, but there may be some other pathology, right?
Yes, sir.
There may be Crohn's or tuberculosis or something else. It's always better to do biopsy.
Yes,
but
sir.
This biopsy we don't do in duodenum. Perforation. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you are happy with the closure here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So
yes,
this
sir.
patient post-operatively, he did well initially, and he was taking orally, but on 6th day developed tachycardia, abdominal pain increased. There was some guarding. You are suspecting probably there is re-leak and peritonitis. What will you do?
Yes. We'll do, sir, one simple ultrasound, sir, to check for any collection or anything, sir. And
yes.
We'll do, sir, one blood to see the WBC count. If anything is there, we can step up the antibiotics, and we'll make sure about the nutritional support. And
all right. Sometimes doing an ultrasound in a very tender abdomen may be very uncomfortable, may not be feasible. So yes. This patient underwent peritoneal, this CT which showed peritoneal collection and leak from the ileal closure site.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yes, there is again re-leak in this case. What will you do? Anybody else also can take. Okay. What will you do?
re-explore, sir. We'll re-explore and we'll drain the collection, and we'll see that closure site, sir, primary closure site. If it is not able to take suture anything, sir, we can do the resection of that segment and anastomosis.
Right. We resect the segment and do the anastomosis.
Yes.
Okay. So how do you decide on that?
By seeing that site, sir, if too much edema is there, if very fragile.
First of all, why did he leak in this patient?
Suture might have gave away or.
Okay. Is an enteric fever per patient, nutritionally low.
Low.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sick patient. He had peritonitis, sepsis.
Yes, sir.
What you said is one option. Okay.
Yes.
So then ileal resection and anastomosis. The problem is in this patient, what I said is septic, nutritionally low. And when you do an anastomosis in such a patient, you have to be very guarded till it gets discharged because it may leak again.
Yes, sir.
No?
Yes, sir.
Because his nutrition is not very good. It's a septic abdomen. And earlier people used to do ileo-transverse anastomosis.
Anastomosis.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
I don't think many people do now. A limited right hemicolectomy. Right? Because you can remove all those Peyer's patches. But all these things are not good in a septic patient, in a nutritionally poor. Which is the best option?
Best simple closure, sir. Freshen the edge and.
No, it will leak again. Anything else?
Stomy, sir. I'll use stomy.
Stoma, right.
Yes.
What stoma? Ileostomy.
Ileostomy, sir. Ileostomy.
Okay, enterostomy. You can bring out that loop and then exteriorize it.
Yes, sir. Exteriorize.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So that you have no worry. You can see that it is, see, this is large perforation, septic and all. If you do an anastomosis, as you said,
yes,
nutritionally poor septic patient, chances of leak is there. Why do you want to take that headache? Risk.
Yes.
No?
Yes, sir.
See, many literature has told that simple closure is no good in most of the ileal perforations. If you see the literature, primary closure versus ileostomy, ileostomy has much better results. Why? This is because of this. See, when there is an introduction of the organism, it will, say, fecal enteric route, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
It will go to the intestine. From there, it goes to the, from the Peyer's patches, it goes to the mesenteric lymph node.
Yes,
from
sir.
there, it goes to the blood. And also it goes to the liver, and then it goes to the gallbladder.
Gallbladder, yes, sir.
Remember typhoid Mary?
Yes.
Again, from there, it comes to the bowel, right?
Yes, sir.
And then again, it contaminates the Peyer's patches again. And then there is again reperforation chances are there. But if you do an ileostomy at this stage, it totally diverts whatever organisms coming, everything to the outside.
Outside.
Not going further into the Peyer's patches, into the distal ileum, or into the cecum. That's the greatest advantage of ileostomy.
Ileostomy.
So it prevents. I'm finishing, sir.
You know, Dr.
Second attack on
Muralidhar
Peyer's
has
patches.
his hand up. That's all I just wanted to point out.
Yeah. Okay. So 1 minute.
Yeah.
So advantages of ileostomy are very many, even in the primary case itself. It prevents further second attack and Peyer's patches. What I said, okay? It diverts all the small bowel and including the salmonella, prevents further necrosis and further perforations, prevents peritoneal contamination. And most important, once there is ileostomy, you can start feeding these patients. Isn't it a great advantage because patient is already nutritionally poor?
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, our option is to give TPN. So
TPN.
ileostomy can be there temporarily. And once the patient is better, then after 2 months or so, you can close the stoma.
Close the stoma.
So this is the life-saving procedure in most of the ileal is enteric perforations as a primary procedure, or as the, if there is a re-leak, that time also. And you can bring out the stoma as an endarterectomy and a mucus fistula can complete diversion you can do. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So others can opine on this, but loop ileostomy in these difficult cases definitely is life-saving and also the most important procedure in septic, nutritionally poor, enteric fever patients. Right, sir, Dr. Lakshman?
Time is getting over. Yes, sir.
Somebody is
Dr. Muralidhar to
Muralidhar.
please, yeah.
Sir, I had a doubt about type of ileostomy, sir.
Okay.
That's been cleared, sir.
So this, the best is to consider at that where if you want to totally divert it, better to bring it out as a, like a double barrel, or this what happens, there is complete diversion. Okay. Other option is if the patient is sick and simpler, then you can just bring it out as a loop ileostomy where there was a perforation and bring it out. It also diverts. There may be very little may go. Bring it at a loop ileostomy and leave it. But depends on the moment, so the mesentery there, whether it is able to bring it out. Sometimes it's very difficult. Otherwise, then you can bring it out separately also. Okay, like this.
Yes, thank you, sir.
One side you can bring it as a end ileostomy, other side you can bring it as a mucus fistula nearby, or other side also.
Sivaram sir,
yes.
Sivaram sir, can you just little make fast? We are
finished. I have finished. I have finished.
Okay.
Any questions and opinion from seniors also?
Thank you very much.
Gurshantapa?
Yeah, only one what I felt. If it is a ileal perforation, the terminology probably what we expect from the postgraduate, it's a wedge resection and closure. It is not a simple closure like duodenal perforation closure.
Excellent. Yes. Yes,
in the first instance itself.
Right. You want to say wedge resection or freshening the edges and suturing?
Wedge resection. The reason given is because they will have underlying enteric ulcers.
Right.
So by doing this, where you are not entering the mesentery, but you are going up to the mesenteric border and taking out all of the circumference so that the whole of the ulcer is excised.
Right. Dr. Ravi Shankar, your comments?
Unmute. Ravi Shankar, unmute.
You covered the perforation very well. The important thing, the take-home message for students is, if the leak has happened despite you doing a good repair in the first place, you have no business even considering re-anastomosis, re-closure. I think you have to take that away from your mind completely. You have to opt for bringing out a stoma. As Dr. Sivaram said, loop ileostomy is ideal because the advantage is closure becomes easier. But if it is not feasible, then bring out a double barrel, which means that you will have to do a further laparotomy down the line. But here, if it is a loop ileostomy, you can do a circumstomal incision and close it. So if it is feasible, do a loop ileostomy. If it is not feasible, then do a double barrel.
Right. Dr. Lakshman, final comments.
Is there any comments? Dr. Lakshman, any comments?
No comments. I think very well covered. Congratulations.
Yeah, very well covered, very nicely covered. And I think most of our PGs has taken the part in that one. So it was a good discussion and good topic.
Right, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sivaram, for your valuable time and nice topic. Now, Dr. Harish.
Yes, sir.
Shall we start that?
Yes, sir.
We will start from here. You can tell their judges also who judge. He can he can ask the question. No, he has to ask the question.
Yes, sir.